Welcome to a new season. New faces you might be able to identify, new reconstructions to jog your memory, and perhaps with your help, new solutions to some of Britain's most baffling crimes.
And it's no exaggeration to say our cases now largely depend on you. The detectives here have almost exhausted conventional inquiries. Tonight, the mystery of Trevelyan Evans, who disappeared from her shop in North Wales in June. Have you seen her, or has she been murdered, as police now fear? Can you identify a cyclist who assaulted 2 children and left them for dead beside a fishing pond in Lancashire? And did you know Lee Parsons from North London, also known as Debbie? Why should somebody want to kill her in what police say has the hallmark of a planned assassination?
And that's where we start, a case that seems not so much a crime of passion, but a calculated killing. The events took place in North London and in Essex, and you'll see there are several people who have to be eliminated from the inquiry. The victim was Lee Parsons. Lee Parsons was 43 and lived in Friern Barnet. Her pride and joy was her white Golf GTI convertible. Lee worked 3 shifts a week as a masseuse at the New Experience sauna in Eversholt Street in Camden Town. She'd worked here for 12 years, though all her colleagues knew her as Debbie. It's Saturday the 23rd of June. Around lunchtime, Lee went out with her boyfriend, Ozzy, whom she'd been seeing for 2 years.
There you go, horoscopes. Here. The new moon is influencing all forms of communication and travel plans.
Lee had lent Ozzy some money to start Lee Oz restaurant in Harlow, Essex, about half an hour's drive from Friern Barnet. Tonight, Ozzy was expecting a big party, and Lee had promised to help out.
Whoa, what a pong in here. It's so dark. I'm going to put a bit of light in it. Can never get this thing working.
Here are the tablecloths, Lee.
Oh, thanks, babe.
About 10 miles away towards London, near Epping Forest, a woman was driving to the shops.
I slowly went down my lane, and I noticed 2 cars with 2 fellows. And it's usually an area where people might stop to walk dogs or have something to, have their lunch. But I noticed there was nothing of that going on.
Oh, doesn't that look lovely? Right, must get going, darling.
Can't you wait? My brother's coming in half an hour.
No, darling, I've got to get to the garden centre on the way home. Ooh, it's still beautiful out here, huh?
OK, well, you get back as soon as you can. You've got to do the bath now, all right?
I do. Bye, darling.
About an hour and a half later, back at Friern Barnet, a neighbour thought Lee had a visitor.
I saw this black car drive in with a black man driving it. It struck me as being a bit odd because it didn't look like a minicab to me because it was too lovely a car. I saw her car was there, so I thought, well, it's not for Lee. But he stopped in front of her window and gave a nod and then quickly drove out.
Police need to eliminate this driver. The car had a distinctive V-shaped aerial.
Hello.
Lee, it's me. How's things?
Oh, great. I got some gorgeous flowers from the garden centre. Listen, babes, I'm just getting ready to go out. So what time does this do start?
Around 7:30.
Don't you mean 8 to 8:30?
Just get here as soon as you can.
About the same time, the witness in Epping Forest returned home from her shopping.
When I came back and I turned into my road, I saw the 2 men still there, and that made me a little suspicious. And when I went home, I mentioned to my husband that it was odd to see 2 people standing there for 5 hours.
About an hour later, a neighbour saw Lee drive out. She was away for half an hour, but police don't know where she went.
How's it going, Kerry?
Busy.
God, I knew she'd be late. Where the hell is she? Lee, what are you doing? The party's started. When are you going to leave? People have already arrived. Are you all right? You sound like you've been sleeping.
I'm all right. I've got something to tell you, baby. I can't tell you now. I'll tell you when I get there.
All right, baby. What is it? Good or bad? At least tell me that.
It's good.
Well, hurry up and come.
This is Bielek making one for the Czechs, fouled by Marchena.
I was watching the World Cup on the television when I hear a yell. I turn the volume down and I hear a loud argument going on next door and a man is shouting at Lee. I became concerned, so I went outside to where my car was and I looked into Lee's kitchen window. I could see the light on, but I couldn't see or hear anything. I came back in and the next thing I heard was the door bang. I went to my kitchen window and I saw Lee getting into her car unaided on the passenger side, while at the same time a man got into the driving position. I caught a glimpse of him and I think he had fairish hair.
Hello, this is Lee here. Please leave your message. I will be in touch. Bye for now.
Next morning, Lee's convertible was seen in Epping Forest, near where the two suspicious cars had been noticed the previous afternoon. Then, at lunchtime, a rambler peered inside the GTI and saw a body. Lee had 3 wounds in her head, perhaps made by bolts fired from a crossbow. Doug Harvey, why are you convinced this was a calculated, a planned killing?
Apart from a general feeling of the whole job, the fact she was lured from her house to a very isolated spot in the forest, and probably more important, the weapon. A powerful crossbow is hardly the sort of weapon you might just happen to have with you.
So you'd really like to hear from anybody who knows any East London or Essex villain who's been toying around with a crossbow, apart from anything else.
It's such an unusual weapon that that sort of information might be vital, yes.
Now, also, you need to know anybody who knew Lee, or knew her as Debbie, perhaps. Anyone at all.
Yeah, this is an execution by any other name, and I'm not happy yet that I've found a motive that would fit such a grave crime, so I would urge anyone who hasn't yet contacted us to come forward, please.
Yeah, we've got some home video which shows Lee at a party, dressed as a... There she is there. You'll see that she's dressed as a belly dancer here as well. There she is. If you knew her, please give us a call. Now, the next thing we need to know are those, perhaps to eliminate, those 2 guys seen in the 2 cars by the witness in Epping Forest. There might have been nothing to do with this killing, of course.
No, quite right, but I do need to see them or find someone else who saw them. The white man with the red car, all I can tell you about him, unfortunately, is he was wearing black tracksuit trousers with a red stripe down the seam. The driver of the green car, the black man, he's about mid-30s, 6 foot, slim build. He's got a moustache, neatly cut hair, probably gelled back, light brown skin, and he was wearing a long-sleeved yellow sweatshirt. OK, this is Saturday the 23rd of June, and they were there, we think, from about 1:30 until about 6:30, maybe even later. At least 6 o'clock, maybe even later. OK, fine. Well, if that was you, please give us a call. If you know who it was or know anything about this, here's the number. Please notice it's a new one, and incidentally not the number in Radio Times, 081 811 8181.
And here's a number for deaf viewers who have a Minicom super telephone. And if you prefer, you can ring the incident room in Edmonton. That's on 081 807 9332. That's 081 807 9332.
We'll let you know as calls come in. Now, looking at results from previous programmes, there were 3 arrests following the last Crimewatch back in June, one of which was directly due to the programme. The landlord of a pub in Middlesex recognised one of his customers as a man he'd seen on photocall, wanted for questioning in connection with a series of deceptions in the south of England. He rang the local police, who arrived a few minutes later, and made an arrest. The man is now in custody, charged with conspiracy to commit criminal deceptions.
And you might remember a reconstruction we featured back in May. Dr. David Burkitt was a well-known dermatologist who was killed for no apparent reason at his home in Middlesbrough. 2 weeks later, the police were sent a strange letter which they thought might have come from the killer. As a result of the inquiry, though I should stress not as a result of Crimewatch, a man has been arrested and been charged with murder.
On photocall again in June, we received some 160 calls about Leonard Matthews. Police need his help with their inquiry into sex offences involving a 14-year-old boy in Great Yarmouth last year. Well, 2 calls from Eastbourne proved particularly important. A guest house owner there rang to say Matthews had just been in to inquire about accommodation, and then another viewer saw his white Skoda apparently abandoned in the town. Then new information after a local radio appeal led them to another guest house, but he'd fled, leaving behind some of his clothes. So if you've seen Leonard Matthews anywhere in the last few weeks, please do ring us here.
More faces now in photocall, people who could be anywhere, who you might know or might have seen somewhere. To take us through them, Detective Constable Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
Firstly, the Central Check Squad need to speak to this man, seen here by security cameras exiting quickly from a bank in August last year. Since 1988, clearing banks in the south of England have been defrauded of £250,000 through stolen cheques and cheque cards. He's described as quite dapper, in his mid-20s, 5'11" with brown hair. If you've seen him, please let us know.
Manchester Police are looking for this man, who witnesses have since described as professional looking. This is Friday the 20th of April, about 3:20 p.m. at the Alliance and Leicester Building Society, Cross Street, Manchester. After producing a note, he attempts to hide his face from the camera whilst waiting for the cash. He's about 40 to 45 years old, stocky build with dark wavy hair, thinning on top. He's smartly dressed in tightly fitting jacket and trousers and leaves carrying a golfing umbrella and trench coat. If you recognise him, then please call us now.
Next, colleagues in Lancashire would like to speak to 24-year-old Derek Milton Billinge. He may have vital information about an incident at Squire's nightclub in Preston back in June 1988, when 5 men were wounded with a knife. We know that Derek Billinge has been seen in London and Birmingham. He's known to use the name Derek Milton Thompson and was a CB radio enthusiast with the call sign Silver Rod. So if you think you know where he is now, please call us.
And finally, can you help the flying squad identify this man? In early June, he went into a bank in Lee, south-east London, threatened the cashier with a gun and demanded money. He was foiled by a brand new security system installed in the bank. He left empty-handed. He's in his mid-30s, about 5'9", slim with grey layered hair. If you recognise him or any of our other photocall cases, please ring us now.
And here's the number, 081 811 8181. Incidentally, banks and building societies are becoming increasingly sophisticated in fooling robbers like that last one and trapping people who take part. If you can help with this one, 081 811 8181.
Our next case is a shocking attack on 2 young boys, aged 10 and 11, out fishing on a summer Sunday afternoon. It's one of the worst crimes ever to have taken place in the Lancashire town of Lytham, and it shocked the whole community. In fact, so involved are the local residents in the effort to solve this crime that they re-staged a massive summer fete to help us film the reconstruction you're about to see. All the witnesses have been anxious to help and appear in person. The identities of the 2 young victims of this extremely serious assault have been changed for obvious reasons. It's Sunday the 15th of July, another hot and busy day along the Lancashire coast. Over the weekend, a fete was being held at Lytham Hall in Lytham St Anne's. It's an annual event which this year attracted more than 4,000 people from Lytham and further afield.
So, Mr. Punch, put your stick down there.
Half a mile away, Michael and Stephen were setting off for an afternoon's fishing at Cartmel's Pit near the Green Drive golf course.
Yeah. Did you see the World Cup? Yeah, the World Cup, it was good, wasn't it? Yeah. See Platt's goal? Yeah, on a volley. Yeah, really good, he just span around in her, didn't he? Yeah. Did you see the finals? Yeah. Argentina got most sent off, didn't they? Yeah. Let's start getting in the pipes. We'll stay here all afternoon, should we? Yeah, better that.
At about 2:20, this woman saw someone cycling near the fishing pit.
Heavy, isn't it, love?
Yes, very. The bloke came through on a racing bike, quite leisurely, just past me and remarked on the weather being very heavy. And then he just went off at a leisurely pace, not racing at all.
Russell Barnes makes regular checks on the permits of people fishing in local angling spots. It's about 3:15.
Hello, lads. You got a permit?
Yeah,
So, you should bring it with you. What's your surname?
Parkinson.
Your initial is?
See.
See? Is this you or your dad?
Both of us, really.
It's your dad, really, though, isn't it? Really, you should come with your father. Anybody older than you that's got a permit. Because you're on private land. Also, it's a private pond. You know, you are trespassing. All right, lads.
Okay.
Just a few minutes after that...
Have you seen two lads?
No.
Oh, I've lost my lads.
What are they called?
Mark and Richard Turner.
Hey, what are they?
13 and 15. Look, are there any other ponds round here?
Yeah, one just through that gate over there.
Oh, cheers. There's no one fishing at that other pond.
There's some more up there by the golf course.
Have you caught anything?
Just a few little ones.
Let's have a look.
Just a few roach. Do you fish?
No, fishing's boring. What school do you go to?
Ansel High.
Ah, that's where my lads went.
How old are they?
Well, they've left now. 16 and 17. Do you live round here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Lytham too.
I think that would better go now, do you?
Yeah, okay.
I received a phone call from the police saying the boys had been attacked and sexually abused. And when I saw my son, he was very badly marked. I was very shaken with his physical condition. He'd been very badly strangled in the attack, very badly indeed, to the point of total unconsciousness.
In fact, both boys were strangled and Michael was thrown into the pond.
Without a doubt, this was a very serious attempt on their life.
I'll go and get some help.
Despite their injuries, the boys somehow found the courage and the strength to run for help.
Excuse me, miss. A man has just attacked us.
You get through the fence?
Yeah.
As they came over, I began to realise something very serious had happened, because they had no trousers on and they were obviously in shock. Can you help? These boys have been attacked.
Where?
Over there by the pond.
Come, Randy, we'll go and see if we can see it.
The attacker probably cycled out of the field into Saltcoats Road. At about that time, Margaret Grimshaw was driving down Saltcoats Road and was distracted by a helicopter display. In that split second, she had to swerve to avoid a cyclist. Police believe that cyclist could be the attacker. Well, Mr. Hacking, it perhaps wasn't entirely evident from that film, but that man, in fact, did nearly kill those two boys, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He's a very dangerous man. There's no doubt about that. He could well strike again, and if he does, we could well be investigating an even more serious crime than we are now.
What description do you have?
Well, despite their ordeal, the boys have done their best to give us a description of the man. They describe him as being 5'9" to 6 foot tall, late 20s or 30s, that was his age. He had dark, short hair, medium to good build. They think he was wearing an earring in his left ear. What they are very clear about is that at that time he had some sort of a complexion problem around his chin and his cheeks. He had acne, spots, pockmarks or a rash, that sort of thing, and he may still have that now.
It may not be as bad as the one we showed on the film, but there was a rash there.
Yes. He was wearing a royal blue T-shirt, faded blue jeans, trainers which the boys thought were high-tech make. He was wearing a black digital wristwatch, and I think that's about it.
He told the boys he came from Lytham. Do you think he was a local?
Well, Lytham is a holiday town. There's a lot of people go there to visit. They go to stay there. A lot of people go to work there. So it could be someone who's visiting the town. He'd actually told the boys that he was local, that he came from Lytham. So we're looking at the fact that he could be local. He could have been a visitor, or he could have been staying in campsites, caravan sites around that area.
He could have come anywhere within cycling distance, I suppose, which could be, what, 40-mile radius?
Yes, one of the boys saw him cycling away, so he could have cycled that distance.
It's hard to see what those two boys could possibly have done to protect themselves. We bring our children up, don't we, not to be rude to people. But I suppose you have to tell them never to enter into conversation at all with somebody they don't know.
Under those circumstances, it's very difficult to see what those children could have done. Perhaps when they were attacked, they could have shouted, screamed, and that could have alerted someone on the nearby golf course and deterred this man. But you've got to remember that these boys were absolutely terrified and they were frightened for their lives at that time.
Yes, it's hard to see how they could have done anything. There is also a moped and two cars which were seen that afternoon and are still unaccounted for. The moped was white with blue mudguards, and that was parked in the gateway to the field beside Saltcoats Road between about 12:30 and 1 o'clock. And then at another gateway to the field, about 50 yards along, there was a peach-coloured Nissan Cherry which was seen parked. That was between about 1 o'clock and 3:30 that afternoon. And finally, two golfers saw a beige saloon car speeding across the field about 4 o'clock or shortly before. Now, just to jog people's memories, we need those people to come forward, if only to be eliminated from the inquiries, but they may have seen something. And to jog people's memories, there was a terrific thunderstorm that afternoon.
There was, yes, about 4:30 that afternoon. There was a heavy rainfall. It was the first rainfall we'd had in the area for some time. If this attacker had cycled some distance, he may have got home wet. If he'd been hanging about in the Lytham area, again, he may have gone home wet. And also remember, on that day, it was the day of the Lytham fete. Over 4,000 people attended that fete, and any one of those people could have seen something or heard something that could be useful to us.
If you can help, please do. There is a reward being offered. Remember, it was the afternoon of Sunday the 15th of July. Mr. Hacking, thank you. I don't need to stress the urgency of finding this man with other children's safety in danger. If you can help at all, just ring our new number, which is 081 811 8181, or Bill Hacking's colleagues are at this moment manning a special line at Preston Police Headquarters. That's going to be devoted to Crimewatch viewers tonight and all day tomorrow. This is the number there, 0772 61 7771. That's 0772, the code for Preston, 617 771.
On the Lee Parsons murder, we're getting a number of calls from people in East London and from Essex who are suggesting people who have got crossbows who maybe are owning them in suspicious circumstances. Can I just remind you about the number again? The telephone number here has changed, and this is the new one, 081 811 8181.
And now with short appeals from around the country, here again are DC Jackie Hames and Superintendent David Hatcher.
We start with a daring raid at the top jewellers Asprey in Mayfair. 2 minutes after they opened on Monday the 16th of July, the £750,000 Laurentine necklace was snatched. 3 raiders in a specially prepared lorry reversed across New Bond Street. A girder that had been welded onto the back of the lorry smashed the shop window with such precision that a hole was punched right in front of the necklace. They then grabbed the necklace and drove off in a stolen red Ford Escort. They abandoned it in Berkeley Street, near the Mayfair Hotel, leaving behind this jacket, a combat hat and a Millwall football cap. We know that 2 of the men got out at Shepherd Market, disappearing into the crowd. The 3rd man also took a taxi, but immediately changed his mind and got out in Mayfair Place. He left behind these gloves and this jacket. In the pocket was this bottle filled with ammonia. During the robbery, the security man had been sprayed in the face with it. The men were not masked, and witnesses have compiled photo fits of 2 of the 3 men. Do you recognise them? This man is described as 28 to 30 years old, 6 feet tall, stocky, possibly of mixed race. The lorry driver is around 5'9" and is in his mid-30s. He has a moustache and a beard flecked with grey. We particularly need to know where the Ford Escort and lorry were before the raid. The lorry, registration STW585W, was stolen on Thursday the 28th of June, near the Stock Exchange in London. And that girder welded onto the back of the lorry. Do you know where this work was done? And where was the red Ford Escort, registration B598BGO, kept between the time it was stolen from Elmstead Woods railway station on the Thursday the 5th of July and the day of the robbery, Monday the 16th of July? If you've any information, please call us now. There's a substantial reward.
Next, the murder of a taxi driver in Oxford. On Wednesday the 13th of June, Leonard Gomm, who was 75, was murdered near the village of Bletchington, just outside Oxford. We've been able to establish Mr Gomm's movements that day. He drove a blue Ford Granada, which was clearly marked as a taxi. At 6:35 a.m. that Wednesday, he dropped a passenger off near the bus station in Gloucester Green, Oxford. Shortly afterwards, and somewhere in the city centre, we believe he was flagged down. It's here the mystery begins. He told his control that he was taking a fare to Bicester, but who was it? At 6:45 a.m. he was seen pulling off the A43 Bicester Road and driving towards Bletchington along the B4027. About the same time, a second witness reports seeing the taxi with a passenger in the back, driving slowly through the village of Bletchington as if looking for something. At about 7:30 a.m. the taxi was seen parked in a lane leading to the hamlet of Hampton Gay. Mr Gomm was discovered nearby. He'd been stabbed. The attacker may have hitched a lift out of the area, so if you were in that part of Oxfordshire in the early morning of Wednesday the 13th of June and can help with this murder investigation, then please call.
Next, another disturbing incident, the apparently senseless murder of a shopkeeper. Baldev Hoondel was the proprietor of G&H Supermarket in Lower Clapton Road, Hackney, where at 10:30 p.m. on July the 22nd he was fatally shot as 2 men entered his store and attempted to rob him. An alarm sounded as the attackers ran into Row Hill Road and Arrow Court. Then we believe they disappeared through Clarence Road and Downs Road into the Nightingale estate. Did you see them making their escape? During their flight, they dropped 2 clues. This unusual suede beret with the label Artwear, London and Copenhagen, and this baseball cap with the British Knights logo. The suspect wearing the beret is described as being a West Indian, aged 22 to 30, 5'11", muscular, clean-shaven with short hair. Suspect number 2 was wearing the baseball cap, again West Indian, also aged between 22 and 30, 5'11", well-built with short hair. If you recognise either of these men or their hats, please call us now.
And finally, colleagues in Merseyside need to find the owners of this home movie. The tape was found in a JVC camcorder, which was recovered by Liverpool police in April. They believe it could have been stolen, but need to know who from. So if that's you or anyone you know, please get in touch. And if you can help with any of our incident desk cases, ring us now.
And the number to ring, remember it's a new number, 081 811 8181. That's 081 811 8181.
This month's final reconstruction is the story of a woman's disappearance, but it's a case police now treat as murder. Trevelyan Evans would be 53. Indeed, today's her birthday. But back in June, on a sunny afternoon, something extraordinary must have happened to her. Think back to June the 16th. England were playing Holland in the World Cup, and the Queen's official birthday was marked by trooping the colour. Were you in North Wales? If so, perhaps you can identify some of the people in our reconstruction, and indeed, maybe you saw Mrs. Evans.
Is this the sort of video you can put straight on the...
Yeah.
Right to the machine, yeah.
My mother is very close to her family, and she had everything to live for, and I can't see her for 1 minute going away without telling anyone what she was going to do. And I think wherever she is, it's involuntary, it's against her will. So that's our main feelings, and that's why we're so worried.
Before she disappeared, she spent 3 days up in Rutherland in our holiday bungalow, which I was doing up or refurbishing, and she was very happy. You know, she liked working up there. She liked the garden.
Llangollen is at the heart of Welsh culture, home of the National Eisteddfod, and thousands of tourists come here every year. Trevelyan had lived here all her life. A year ago, she bought this bric-a-brac shop called Attic Antiques in Church Street. Collecting was a lifetime's hobby, and this was the realisation of a dream. Her slogan in the shop said, "I'll buy anything." And so she did, from locals, visitors and dealers who were passing through. It's 9:15 a.m., 2 days before her disappearance. A local housewife was walking past the shop and noticed Trevelyan in conversation with two men.
Hello. Come over and have a look. Got some nice bits of lace here. You're welcome to come in and have a look anyway.
What's thought to be the older of those two men was seen again with Trevelyan next day. He was described by Susan Knight, who works in the opticians, as distinguished, and Olga Pedder-Roberts agrees.
Well, it was a Friday morning. I looked through the window and Trevelyan passed with this man who was very well dressed, in a navy blue suit and a black briefcase. Trevelyan waved, and I just thought how lovely she looked that morning.
That evening at 8:30, David and Irene Pond were driving home down Castle Street.
We pulled up at the traffic lights at the top of Castle Street at its junction with the A5, and we saw Trevelyan standing in the doorway of the cafe.
She was standing in the doorway. She was stepping in and out with a piece of paper in her hand, looking down the street as if she was expecting someone to come up. But when I turned round, there was no sign of anybody. I kept looking at Trevelyan, waiting to acknowledge her, but she didn't seem to see me at all.
It's now next morning, 10 o'clock on Saturday, June the 16th, the day that Trevelyan went missing. Doreen Dolson's general store is just down from Trevelyan's own shop.
Just get a pint of milk.
Love, 32 pence, please. She got in her purse, she got a wad of note out in her hand, and then she went deep in the purse to get the exact money out.
I'll be able to have a cup of coffee now.
I could just do with one.
Thanks.
Thanks, love. Bye. I was going to say to her, watch your money, but I didn't like because you thought I was rude or something, you know. And I didn't really say anything. She just gave me the right money, and then she says, I'll go now and have a cup of coffee, and I didn't see her again.
Soon afterwards, a friend, Christine Burdett, dropped in.
Hello. Coffee?
Oh, yes.
You smelt it.
I haven't had Here, add a milk bottle for those.
Oh, they're lovely. I think I can stretch to a vase, though.
No.
It looks as though we've got an offer for the house in Market Street.
Oh, cheers.
So, an elderly couple, and they want to move in quite soon, I think.
That would be good, because the flat's almost ready, isn't it? I've been a close friend of Trevelyan's for 11 years now, and she was happy, she looked fit, and she had lots of plans of things that she was going to do. I even popped back to the shop to remind her that we were invited to a party, and she was thrilled to be going, you know, and really wanted to go. There is no way she would have gone missing, that she would have gone away voluntarily. No way.
About 90 minutes later, two local men were driving down Church Street and saw Trevelyan lock up her shop and walked down towards the A5 and the centre of town. If she ever left the shop, she'd always leave a message saying how long she'd be gone. In fact, on busy Saturdays, she rarely left for more than a few minutes. But as the afternoon drew on, several customers who took items from boxes on the pavement found the door was bolted and posted money through the letterbox. The shop was never to reopen. Did Trevelyan go home? She was seen at 2:30 in Market Street, right beside her house, though no one saw her leave or enter. She was walking in the direction of her shop.
Hello.
Yet 5 minutes later, a woman like Trevelyan was seen walking in the opposite direction on the A5, heading out of town beside the park which runs along the River Dee. And a few minutes after that, Marion Hatton saw a woman on a public footpath that leads up from the river. If that was Trevelyan, why on a busy Saturday had she left her shop to walk down here? Then, just before 6, a woman driving up Church Street saw a man who looked to her suspicious standing outside Attic Antiques. She thinks the door to Trevelyan's shop was open. When Trevelyan's family came searching for her later that night, the door was locked. When eventually they got in, they found her compact open on the counter and her handbag still containing all her credit cards.
I think anyone could think about their own mother or their own father, and they know sometimes, you know, you can see things brewing up, but there is no way that she would go without saying anything. And, you know, we're just desperate to know what's happened, whether it be for the worse or for the better, but just to come to some sort of conclusion, because living like this is just terrible at the present time.
John Cook, you think this is for the worse? You think this is murder? Let's start eliminating some of the people we saw in that reconstruction. On the Thursday, that's the 14th of June, there were the two people outside her shop, probably quite innocent, nothing to do with this. Tell us what we know about them.
Yes, very briefly. The first man, as you know, came from the tannery. He's the younger man, about 30 years of age, modern dress, wearing a dark suit with the sleeves rolled up, dark hair which appeared gelled. The older man was about 65 years of age, had grey hair, casually dressed, an aquamarine jumper with a paisley tie, and he was in conversation with Mrs. Evans.
OK, now the next day, that's Friday the 15th of June, isn't it? There was another man seen with her. It might have been actually one of the guys from the day before, we just don't know. But you've got quite a good description of this chap.
Yes, we have. It's possibly the previous man. Now, he's described as being very smartly dressed in a dark suit or a dark blazer, brown hair going grey, about 5'10", stockily built, and he was carrying a briefcase in his left hand.
A bank manager like, or an insurance salesman. I think somebody's put him, possibly an antiques dealer. And I gather you've got new evidence about this man today.
Yes, we have. Fresh evidence now suggests that the same man may well have been in Gale's Wine Bar in Castle Street, Llangollen, later that same evening.
Now, the day she disappeared, the evening after she vanished at 6 o'clock, was that chap seen with the car outside her shop. I should stress the witness isn't sure if the door was open or not. It might have been shut.
That's correct. The door may well have been open, but the witness is not sure. He was leaning against the car. She had a shoulder view only of him, and he was wearing what appeared to be a Macintosh with wide lapels.
OK, now if that was you, for heaven's sake, do ring us up. What else do you need to hear? What else can help with this inquiry?
I think it's most important to stress that this is a murder inquiry. We're aware that Mrs. Evans had a wide circle of friends, both male and female, and we urge them to ring us here and contact us, and we treat whatever they say with the utmost discretion.
OK, if you can help, here's the number: 081 811 8181. 081 811 8181. Or you can call the local incident room, that's 0492 518 383. 0492 518 383.
We have two files of faces this month, people whom police need to trace to help them with their investigations. So here with our second photo call are Superintendent David Hatcher and Detective Constable Jackie Hames.
Colleagues in Southampton investigating a serious fraud would like to speak to Gordon Green. He may have information about a company called Flymaster Travel Limited, which was set up in 1988 with offices in Southampton, Heston and Reading. By the end of 1989, over £25,000 had been taken from customers who were asked to pay for plane tickets which they never received. Gordon John Green is 38 and also uses the name Michael Green. The end of his left little finger is missing. If you know his whereabouts, please ring us now.
Do you recognise this robber who carries his props in a duffel bag? A camera catches him as he comes into a betting shop off the Strand in London earlier this year. He pulls a balaclava and sawn-off shotgun out of the bag and then forces the staff to hand over £1,000. As he leaves, he stuffs his coat, hood and gun back into the bag. He's in his mid-20s, 5'10", with short dark hair and wore a white 3/4 length coat. If you know him, please let us know.
We'd like to speak to Geoffrey Lane. You may know him as John Shaw, Alfred Richardson or Peter Richardson. Gloucester Police are coordinating a fraud inquiry in which 199 stolen cheques have been used in 24 towns throughout England. Lane is 45, 5'8" with light brown greying hair. He's a heavy smoker and walks with a limp. He uses public transport, particularly the train, and stays in hotels or hostels. So if you've spotted him on his travels or know where he is now, please call us.
Finally, do you know any of these people? Their pictures were found in a camera left behind by burglars in a house in East Clandon, Guildford. We believe they were taken at the Bad Rutz Palace Hotel, St Moritz, Switzerland. Were you staying at the hotel during this year's skiing season? Whoever was responsible for the burglary made their getaway in a grey Ford Sierra car, registration G446YWK. It was stolen during the night of the 27th of February from southeast London, and months later it was recovered from the North Peckham estate, about a mile away. Do you know who was driving it between the 28th of February and the 17th of April this year? If you recognise anyone in the photos, or know who's been driving the Sierra, or indeed recognise any of our other faces on photo call, please ring us now.
Here once more is the number if you think you recognise any of those people, 081 811 8181, 081 811 8181, and a flurry of calls to the incident room at Lytham about the sex attacks on those two young boys, several of which of the calls are very promising indeed. One caller has given police personal details of the travelling fraudster who was wanted in connection with cheque card fraud, so we've got some good details of him and possible location too. Finally, in the murder of Baldolf Hundel, the shopkeeper in London, some intriguing and the police say valuable information about one of the hats that was recovered after the murder. So,
well, for the moment, that's it. If you think you can shed some light on any of our cases tonight, but you haven't picked up the phone yet or haven't been able to get through yet, please do try now. Our lines are going to be manned until midnight. Alternatively, you can phone the Investigating Force direct, and those numbers are on CFAX page 618, or phone your local police. We'll be back at midnight now with an update on calls received so far.
please remember the sort of violent crime we've shown tonight, and the sort, of course, that makes the headlines, is very much a rare event. And with all the calls coming in behind me right now, maybe even these crimes are on the way to being solved. So don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.